Hi everyone, welcome to another live stream. Hi. Let's go. Sure one, let's go. Yo, everybody, we are here and I am here, and this is going to be a wonderful day. Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to have a very wonderful live stream, I believe, and I'm good, and I hope you are too. I hope we are all good, and I hope we are ready. Of course, we know what we are talking about. We're talking about marriage. Continuing from where we stopped yesterday. Yesterday was interesting in so many ways, right? What we talked about was interesting, in my opinion. If I should say so myself, I consider what we discussed, interesting, and the technical difficulties were also very interesting, if you ask me. If I think about it, in retrospect, I feel, well, that was fun, and happy that we are here again, you know, and don't worry, God is always holding you, Kate. He's always holding me. Uh, Here's somebody trying to explain his use of the N word. It's fine, bro. It's fine, everyone. I'm in Nigeria. The word does not mean more. I'm in Nigeria. We have far more words that can be used. I'm like, that's a problem, And even if I consider it a problem, that's me. I will not really. I'm not somebody who is going to be like, I'm angry right now. My anger is always in used to come in late, if you've ever noticed those kind of people who you offend and then they get angry like 2 days later. Yeah, that's sometimes that's how I behave. Like, you offend me today and I'm angry 2 days later. When I'm thinking about it, I'm like, what he said that day was kind of offensive. I'm that kind of person. Anyway, but by then it's already too late, so I just let it go. For the most part. Sometimes I'm like, nah. If the person is really close to me, I'm like, we need to talk about it again. And yeah, anyways, we are talking about marriage today. We're talking about marriage advice, from the best place you can ever get it, which is TikTok. Anybody who disagrees don't know what you're talking about. TikTok is the hub of pristine advice, the best you can get from anyone out there. And if you joined us yesterday, you would know that we really got really remarkable advice, the best of the best of the best of the best. Okay, and with this tool that we get from TikTok, we can jump into marriage and be ready for success. So with that being said, let's get right into it. I don't want to waste too much time giving long intro, or maybe I should do that. Let me do that by saying something I realized today. Something I noticed and realized today is how I was speaking with somebody about this earlier, and I was talking about how the place where you find yourself kind of determines what your morals are, determines a lot how you see the world, people you surround yourself with, and your location, physically, and will I call it based on relate. There's where you are located based on people you relate with, and there's where you are located based on where you are physically, and there's where you are located based on the kind of things you consume. So all these three things kind of affect the way we see the world and affect, who we say we are. And I was talking to the person, I was encouraging the person to, beyond just all the external factors or the external environments of your life, be able to form something, be able to find a principle that will guide you even when some of those things that you find yourself around that are really good things disappear. Like, let's say you find yourself amongst a mist of friends, and you and your friends, you have the same values, you share the same beliefs, and everybody agree with each other on certain things. Essentially, that's what so many people will call living in a bubble, right? But there's really nothing bad in living in a so-called bubble. It's just surrounding yourself with people who you share the same values with. Of course, you guys are not monotonous. There's always slight differences, but when it comes to the major issues, you guys mostly agree, right? So you find yourself in the midst of those kind of people, and something happens and you're unable to communicate with them, or something happens and you are being uprooted from that, social circle, and you find yourself in another social circle, where everybody is saying the opposite of what you hold to be true. In that situation, it will be best for you to to be convinced in the things you know to be true. And your conviction exceeding that of, well, it is right because everybody I know thinks it is right. You have to have a conviction that transcends that for you to be able to function in a world, the kind of world we are living in, where slowly all the things we hold to be true are being eroded, and we find people around us, having, changing and varying in their opinion about stuff and coming up with opinions that you don't agree with, and then you're finding yourself having to question, should I change because others are changing? Why should I continue believing what I believe? Why should I hold on to what I know to be true? In that moment, it is important for you to be convinced in yourself that what your values are true, your morals are true, your opinions are, at least, I'm not saying you should be opinionated, but at least be grounded in what you know to be true and be able to defend it, so that even if you are the only one speaking, even if you are the only one you can find who believes what you believe, you'll be convinced in your belief. So that's what I was saying to the person. That's a thought that I decided I should open with you guys today. This is from Justa Longosta. I hope I pronounced that well. Said you should have more subscribers. I should. And if you guys can hit the like button, share the link to this, invite people who, friends and stuff, tell them about this. Just go out there, guys, and or do the algorithm stuff, just hit the like button, smash it, hit it, and hit it. If all of you can do that, I believe that, my subscriber number will go up. I believe that is the yeah. So this is from Shrodran. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Sorry. It said green leaves may fade, but wisdom is forever. Yeah, that's true. And whoa, I always see this lady in my comments, and today she's with us live. She is. As I saw your profile picture, I was like, oh, finally you get to meet us live. And she said, hello, Frank. Finally, I've joined live, and I'm happy that you have. I am so happy that you have. And I in fact, I'm feeling good about this live stream already. So, guys, hit the like button, and without saying so much, let's get into it. So we'll start off from the last video that we reacted to from the last live stream, which is from my doctor, my Nigerian marriage doctor. Okay, so pay close attention.
If you cannot tolerate the following things, don't get married.
Yes.
Number one,
okay.
If you cannot control your anger, your temper, don't get married.
Yes.
If you cannot tolerate stupidity, don't get married.
Yes.
If you cannot say sorry even when you are right, don't get married.
At all.
Marriage, I've been married for 38 years. Falling in love is common sense leaving your brain. It takes stupidity and tolerance to remain married. Those who are too smart, like Bill Gates and Melinda, they don't remain married. Most Nobel Prize winners and very intelligent people don't maintain one relationship. It takes some level of stupidity to remain married. I've been stupid for 38 years. I'm your friend, Dr. Charles Apoki. God bless you.
That's from Dr. Charles Apoki. Okay? And I like the part where he said people who are smart like Bill Gates and Melinda don't. I like the guy. I like him. Dr. Charles is it Apoki? Yeah, Apoki. Yeah, that's some sound words of wisdom. You see, TikTok is. I know so many of you, when I was giving the intro about TikTok being the citadel of extreme wisdom, many of you are like, ha ha ha, he's being sarcastic. You see that I'm not. This is sound wisdom coming from TikTok, Nigerian TikTok to be precise. And he's right. I agree with him to an extent because there's something my dad used to say. He said that if you see a relationship that is going well, that there's often one person who is doing more than the other person, and that sometimes in that relationship you need to be okay with being that person and not complaining about it. And one thing I realized at the end of the day is, in every relationship, if we become selfish, like if you start keeping scores, you're always going to be winning. Like if you're keeping scores, you're always going to be ahead. So I guess the level of stupidity involved is you not keeping scores. Is you sometimes acting like what people will call a simp. I've had people say this, in your marriage, don't be a simp. And of course, there's something to say about men who just completely lose themselves and don't know how to stand their ground and are just a pushover and stuff like that. There's something to be said about them. But sometimes what people call being a simp is just you being reasonable, being willing to compromise. Sometimes just you being willing to let go of certain things. And if you're not able to do that in your marriage, I believe, I don't think it will even work in any relationship whatsoever, much more marriage where you have to deal with the person every day. This is how I think of marriage. Take any close relationship you have with somebody, multiply all the benefits by 100, multiply all the things you don't like about that relationship by 100, and I think that's what you get in a marriage. I think that's what you get in marriage. In marriage, all the things you don't like is multiplied to 100, and all the things you like is multiplied to 100. So you have tolerance for your friend that is like 5. You have to times it by 100, maybe 500. And I'm speaking in mathematical terms, like one of the people we reacted to during the last live stream. But the point I'm trying to make, I hope it passes across and we don't get lost in doing the maths. The point is you need more. It multiplies. It becomes as in it's exponential. That's the point I'm trying to make. And yes, when it comes to marriage, your tolerance level needs to be high. Your endurance level needs to be high because it is more intimate, it is more serious, and the consequences and the benefits are more, than just a mere relationship. Let's see what people are saying in the comments. This is from Tommy. She said, married people are often called stupid by single friends. The compromise is hard for people to understand. And I agree with that 100%. Is that, and another thing I would say is, if you are somebody who is married, I believe that you should have married friends. You should have married friends. As a married person, you should have more married friends than single friends, because your single friends are going to be, they will not understand the marriage dynamics. I don't think any of us can. And there are some single people who get it, right? There's single people who get it, but not many of them would. As a single person, you will not be able to understand what people in their marriage are dealing with. So for you as a single person, you're like, why will you stand for that? Why will you tolerate that? No, you need to do this. No, you need to do that. And you're just talking from the perspective of a single, selfish individual who does not have any responsibility or owe anybody anything, right? So I would advise that if you're somebody who is married, you should have a lot of married friends. Yeah. And this is from Rodney. He says, simping is what men do on OnlyFans. Exactly. I agree 100%. Now let's go to the next video. Let's see what the next has in store for us. And this is a marriage advice from TDJX. I was contemplating whether I should add this or whether I shouldn't, but I thought it was interesting, so I said, let me just add it. I don't know if many of you know who this pastor is. This is Pastor TDJX. I think he's a bishop. I'm not sure, but something like that.
You can't be a married woman with a single woman's mindset. Because all of your single girlfriends will mess up your marriage with their advice about what they would do if they was you, and they don't have nobody, and you listening at them and carrying that spirit home, and it's tearing up your house. Brother, you can't be a husband with a single man's mindset, because you will be physically present but emotionally unavailable, because you are physically and legally married but not emotionally present or connected, and because you have not developed language for anything beyond anger, your wife becomes a sparring partner.
There's one thing about pastors that kind of piss me off sometimes. I agree with what he's saying, but sometimes the mannerism kind of annoys me. I'm like, dude, come on, stop feeling yourself. I'm like, dude, stop feeling yourself. Yeah, you're making sense, but stop feeling yourself. Pastors do it a lot. When they say something and they know, that's deep, they pause for a minute, like, let me bask in my own. let me bask in my own awesomeness. Like, wait a minute, I just dropped some bars right now. Let me bask in my own awesomeness. And then you're like, I'm good. But let's continue.
Because you are better at expressing anger than you are anything else. And God is prepping you with a change of mindset.
And I agree with that 100%. You know, other than the part that all those pregnant pauses that he was putting in between, you know, other than that, I think he makes a very good point. And the first part of what he said was something I just mentioned before we even started the video. And the second part for me is very important because you hear so many people in the so-called red pill space. They always talk about how men are not emotional. Men are not emotional. Women are the ones who are emotional. But that's not true. That's not true. Men and women just have different emotions. If you're a human being, you are emotional. We are 50, I believe we're even 50% emotional. I don't know if there's any study to back that up, but I believe we are very emotional, you know, just as much as we are rational. There's a statement that came to my mind when I was thinking about this earlier yesterday. And I was like, we as human beings are so rational that we rationalize emotion. And we as human beings are so emotional that we rationalize emotion. So it's just like where emotions, sometimes where emotions stop and where rationality begins is hard to tell. And maybe they even go hand in hand. That's something that philosophers and psychologists will have to uncover. But I believe that human beings are as much rational as they are emotional. The question is what emotion is driving you, right? Like one thing I've heard Jordan Peterson said is that women are more prone to negative emotions, right? So a woman is more likely to be sad, you know, insecurity issues, stuff like that. And men are more likely to be egotistic and proud, which is the same thing, and angry. And I've seen so many things, so many decisions men make that they make out of anger. They are coming to that conclusion, or they are making that decision because they were angry. Right. And then people wonder, oh, women are the only ones who cannot make decisions because they're always emotional. Like you as a man, you're also emotional. And in relationship, as women have to learn how to control their emotions, men also have to learn how to control their emotions, especially anger. If you're a man and you're listening to me, you know this to be true. You know this to be true. We are prone to anger. Hey, Jesus, we are prone to anger as men. And it's a real issue. Like I've seen it in my own life become a real issue where I am doing something and I know right now I am talking like this, I'm acting like this because I'm angry. You know, and it's not a good thing. And this is the funny thing. In that state of anger, you can rationalize everything you are saying. And I even find myself saying, no, I'm just being rational here. It's a lie. You're not being rational, dude. You are angry. You are just angry. And if you don't learn how to control your anger, believe me, it's going to affect any relationship you have. I've seen people ruin friendship, marriage, whatever it is, because they cannot control their anger. And I'm not talking women. I'm talking men. Okay, so that is that about that. Let me see what people are saying. This is from Tam. She said, I believe he's a reverend. Okay. Rodney said, I'm Church of England myself. I don't know what that is. Blue Dodger Man said, Frank, you are the greatest. You are the please don't flatter me. And Rodney said, anger has never worked well for me. It never works for anybody. It never works for anybody. There's a scripture that said, anger rests in the bosom of fools. And if you're somebody who is prone to anger, it's one scripture you need to keep in mind all the time. And if you're somebody who believes in the scripture too, you need to keep in mind that scripture that says, anger rests in the bosom of fools. Okay, is a foolish thing to allow anger to control you. And yeah, moving on to the next video. So this is what we are going to be doing thus far. And let us look at the TikTok video from which we got the title for this live stream, which is Tracking Your Husband. Let's go to that video right now. The Tracking Your Husband video. And of course, from the look of this lady's face, you know that she's about to give you something that wisdom does. Calling it wisdom is an understatement right now. Okay? And this is the kind of advice you should note down. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the women of TikTok. Here's what they have to say.
Pro marriage tip, track your husband's location on his cell phone.
Okay, so that's what she said. That's what she said. And then this is the reaction from someone else, from another woman.
Nope. Don't need to.
I want us to watch it again. I just want us to watch it. You get, because there's some things I want to pick out. I want you guys to pay attention.
Don't need to.
two issues that I have with the whole video. One, tracking your husband or tracking your spouse. Well, it depends on why. Let's say if you're doing it for security reasons, right? Fine. Okay. Let's say you live in a place where, for your security, you're like, okay, let's keep track of each other so that we can know where the other person is in case of an emergency. Fine. But if you're tracking your spouse because you don't trust them, that's where the issue lies. So if I was to answer the question that I left in the poll, my answer will be it depends, right? It depends on, okay, why are you tracking your spouse? If you're tracking your spouse because you don't trust them, then that's bad. In fact, if you don't trust somebody, or you can't find it in yourself to trust anybody or trust a particular person, then don't get married to the person. If you are dating somebody, or you're in a relationship that is leading to marriage with somebody who you don't trust, why are you in that relationship? Why will you be in a relationship with somebody you don't trust? It's why will you do that? And marriage for that matter. I can't even have a friend. I can't call somebody my friend and not to have a degree of trust that I have to, I trust this person when it comes to this. I trust this person when it comes to this. Like, I trust this person. And of course, there are different, like the word trust, of course, I believe there are many ways it can be used, right? Let's say you have a spouse who does not know how to drive. You will not trust her with the steering. You understand? That's not the kind of trust I mean. I mean trust where this person will be faithful. This person is loyal. This person is honest. That's the kind of trust I mean. If you cannot trust somebody in that regard, then you should not be in a relationship with the person. Then the second part is this other woman in trying to respond to the first lady. The other is the second lady trying to respond to the first lady. You film your husband in a shallow pool with the dog, acting like a child with a Star Wars. Oh no, come on. And I'm very sure he did not approve of you doing that. And which is my issue with so many marriage TikTok. I'm like, really, is this how you want to pass the message across? By filming your spouse in an embarrassing position without their approval, just so you can make a point on TikTok. And what's with all the LGBTQIA plus paraphernalia that you have hanging all over your house? Like, this, your allyship is really strong. And I know, everybody hangs their religious symbols everywhere. You have Catholics who have crosses, all over their walls. I guess this is her religion, but it would have helped if we didn't get to see that. And I'm sure your husband is not happy that you showed the whole world, his guilty pleasure. I'm sure he will agree that is a guilty pleasure. There is no man who goes to a shallow pool with his dog that wants to be filmed doing that. Except, you've decided that one of the ways you make money online is by is by being a joke, essentially. Anyway, so that's what I think about that. Let me see. What do you guys think? This is from Tammy. She said, I have anger issues myself. The problem with today is problematic aspect of humans are encouraged. It's okay to be angry and proud as a woman because men are allowed to be so. It's not okay for anybody. See, pride and anger is just, every even sadness, like being sad, being emotional, it's okay to express it. It's okay to be angry, but not all the time. It's okay and it's not okay. It's just the what matters is control, right? Control, being able to control, and positively channel those emotions, right? That's what is important, whether you are somebody who is prone to anger or not, is having an outburst as a result, not controlling yourself, not knowing, okay, there are certain things I should not say now. And even though I'm angry, I shouldn't say those things. There are certain things I should not do. And even though I'm angry, I will not do them, right? There are certain decisions I should not make right now because I'm angry. Is that restraining yourself even when you have this huge burst of emotions that is just overwhelming? Your ability to hold yourself back and realizing that there is a time and a place for everything. There's a time for you to respond angrily to something, and that time is not all the time. And whenever, if you find yourself to be that kind of person, don't be like, and that's one thing I see so many people do. They'll be like, well, I'm an angry person, guys. I'm an angry person. I am that I am who I say I am, who I say I am. I am. I'm like, come on. You you are becoming, meaning you can change. Human beings change. Try and change. Stop making it look like everything about you is set in stone and cannot be changed for any reason or for whatever. You know, especially when it's something as annoying and disgusting as someone's inability to control their emotion. Now, it's not having emotions, but controlling them. You know, having an unchecked emotion is really a big problem, and it is not attractive. It is not good. You know, there's a scripture that says the wrath of man does not fulfill the right. Yeah, right? Am I getting that scripture correctly? The wrath of man does not fulfill the righteousness of God. I don't know, something like that. So yeah, that's what I would say. The next clip, let me go to something that is more interesting. Let's look for more interesting clips. Okay, here's this one. Here's this one that I think is ridiculous and interesting. Let's go. Okay, this one is of course TikTok, and it's no speech involved, just drama. I want you guys to pay attention. Why is she slushed? Why is she slushed like this? Jesus Christ, this posture is so bad. This is so bad. This is a very bad posture. My God. This is a very, are you guys seeing this? This is a very bad posture. This is a very, very bad posture. But obviously, this is not staged, guys. This is absolutely not staged. You know. There are people who, in front of their house, they like the entrance to their house just has a camera on standby. Okay, so it's not like the camera was. It's not like they turned on the camera and decided, oh, let's just dramatize this. You know, they just they just have a camera on standby, ready to capture the moment and to show just how horrible their spouse. Come on, this is obviously staged. And you need to see the comments on this video. I remember when I saw the video on TikTok, people were like, can you imagine? He did not even help. Look at the face of the child, noticing that this is, I'm like, dude, this is staged. It is staged. It's not real. Okay, it's not real. People don't behave like that. You can't, except you're a psychopathic human being. Like you are very psychopathic, that you see somebody, especially your wife, your spouse, with heavy, look, so much, grocery bags. Like, look at how many she's carrying. You look at that and you just walk, and she's already opening her hand, like, okay, take some, and you just walk. Come on. Except you're a very, 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 very bad human being. People don't behave like that. Okay, people don't, even bad spouses, like people that, my husband is a terrible human being. He's a devil himself. They don't behave like this. Come on. Jesus Christ. They obviously don't behave like this. And what else? What else do we have here? Okay, this is the marriage advice from from the mosque. Okay, we've listened to Christians give advice. Let's listen to Muslims give advice. Marriage advice.
When someone comes to propose for your daughter and they have good religion and they have good character, give that daughter of yours in marriage to that person if the daughter is willing. If the daughter is not willing, you are not allowed to give. If she is willing, give her. For as long as there is deen and akhlaq in that brother, there will be barakah. That's the hadith. So if someone has deen and akhlaq, give them a 1. Give them a 1 point. They have 1 point. 1. If they are good looking, give them a 0. What does it make it? 10. Okay. If they have a lot of wealth, give them another 0. What does that make it? 100. If they come from a good family, give them another 0. What does it make it? 1,000. If they have a lot of other things, give them another 0. How much would that make it? 10,000. And so on. Keep on giving them zeros for every other thing. But for deen and akhlaq, what did you give them? A 1. If they don't have deen and akhlaq, remove the 1. What are they remaining with? 0. They have nothing. That is how we as Muslims should look at it. So the more the merrier. It is better If you have someone who's really good looking, mashallah, they come from a good family, alhamdulillah, they might be wealthy, alhamdulillah, they have something more, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. But if they don't have deen and akhlaq, you remove the one, you are left with nothing. You are wasting your time, my brother, my sister. You will be depressed in that relationship. La ilaha illallah.
You had the man, deen and akhlaq. I'm very sure I'm not pronouncing it well. But one thing that I think is fascinating about this clip, other than the fact that the man is making a lot of sense, and I agree, to a huge, I mean, it's that sound. Although, and I like his analogy, even though I find it funny. And this is the part about his analogy that I find funny. It turns out that when you add 0 to 1, it is 10. I didn't know this, okay? I did not know this, but now I'm learning this today. I was today years old when I learned that if you add 0 to 1, it becomes 10. And if you add another 0 to 10, it becomes 100. And if you add another 0, it becomes 1,000. And if you add another 0, it becomes 10,000. And if you add another 0, it becomes 100. That's just how it works, guys. All you need is 1 1 and a lot of zeros, okay? And but don't to take away from the point he's trying to make. Obviously, I understand where he's coming from and the point he's trying to make. And the point is that somebody needs to be there are things that are principle, right? When it comes to relationship and marriage, there are things that are principle and there are things that are secondary, right? There are primary things and secondary things. If the person has the primary things, then yes, you give them a 1. And then if they have other secondary things, you can add that, that to the primary things, and then it makes it even more. That's kind of the point this Muslim preacher is trying to make, which is sound. It's like how. Sorry, the way I want to explain it is with the scripture. When the scripture said, when Jesus said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you." It's in that same way when you want to get married to somebody, there are certain things that you should, that are primary, that you should seek first. And then every other thing is secondary. Every other thing is secondary. And good religion, of course. Piety, very important. Okay. And somebody being, of good behavior, of good conduct, very, very necessary. Money, good family background, all these other things, being handsome, all those things are secondary. Good behavior and good religion is primary. And I agree with that 100%. But one thing I know also is that, like I said, guys, if you are in marriage, when you're getting married to somebody, 1 + 0 is what? Is 10. Okay? So there you have it. Exactly. This is mathematics. We are learning a lot today, guys. I'm expanding my horizon. I didn't know many of these things. Also, guys, I didn't mention this earlier. Please support with your super chats. I can't wait to read them, and I believe we'll have some of those today. Anyways, moving on. Let's see, what other video did I have? Okay, here is a video that this video I'm about to show is somehow. Well, when I saw it, so many thoughts came to my mind. Like I didn't know what to think about it. Okay, and this is the woman who is posting this is a Christian woman, and what she's talking about is just something that I understand her, and I don't understand her at the same time. I empathize with her, but I don't empathize. Well, I empathize with her. I still empathize with her, but I just felt her reaction to the situation was a bit too much. Like it was a bit too much. But I understand her nonetheless. I understand her. So let's just watch it. All right, let's split our screen here. So he said sometimes life doesn't go as planned. My husband had a deep porn addiction, and he lied and kept from me. I fought our whole marriage to help him. I loved him and stood by him through everything. It got to a point where I was no longer safe in our relationship and told him to leave. I have learned so much, and I know that this is my path, and I was supposed to walk this road. I am thankful for this experience because I've only grown and become stronger.
We're declaring this tonight.
God has taken my fears and given me the strength through this. I am so hopeful for the future and what's in store for me. I don't know what's in store for you is like 2 cats. Anyways, whatever. All right, so you get the mess here. So essentially, she got married, and the person she got married to was struggling with porn addiction, and she obviously wasn't okay with it, and they got a divorce because of that. And she told us all of that on TikTok using one of my favorite worship songs. And I feel some kind of way about that. There are a couple of things that came to my mind when I first saw this, and I was like, it's just you're torn between two. Like, I get it and I don't get it at the same time. First of all, why post it? Okay, why post it on social media? Like, what are you trying to achieve by posting it? There's first of all, there's so many things you should just, I feel if certain things like, issues in your marriage, divorce and stuff like that, the only time to talk about it, the best time, let me not say the only time, the best time for me to talk about it is years later after it has happened. Then I think, talking about it years later gives you some insight and then allows you to talk about it in a way that is helpful. Talking about it in the moment, I don't know if you say something that is helpful, I just feel you just be rambling and, you really don't understand where you are. And the last thing you want to do is put everything about your marriage or about your life at that point, put it, on social media on display for the whole world to see. Some people will judge you, some people will not even be gracious towards you, especially when they are frank in the short mode. When I'm making YouTube shorts, I'm always critical mode frank is activated. All right. So if the critical Frank was reacting to this, I'll be like, this is ridiculous, right? This is preposterous because of porn addiction, But the live stream Frank is kind of more reasonable, right? Or trying to be more reasonable and understanding. And I just feel don't show it on social media. For now, don't broadcast it yet. Don't talk about it. Maybe don't even talk about it at all. But if you will talk about it years later when you gain so much insight and perspective and you can be able to, give a well-rounded, you can give a well-rounded advice or statement about what was happening at that point in your life. I just feel you should have waited a bit. That's one. Second is, porn? Because, like, guys, what do you think in the comments? Because this is what I'm finding it difficult to say what I have in mind to say. So what do you guys think in the comments? Let me know. What do you guys think? This is from the master. He said people feel the need to post their entire life on social media. I don't get it. This is from Kachi Ino. He said, tell no lie, Frank mode. Yeah, that's the Frank on the shots, and he doesn't tell any lies. But and Kachi, is like the 2 cards. Yeah, the 2 cards. The master is, I'm a bit confused. Okay, about the video, she's going through a divorce. She just divorced her husband, and the reason for the divorce was she found out that the husband is addicted to porn. And according to her, she struggled with it in her marriage and she could no longer take it. So she decided to end it. And I understand porn addiction is a serious thing. It can have serious effect in a relationship. I've had people talk about it. I've not been with a partner, obviously, who has had issues with that. So I cannot speak to that. And I don't know how much it affects a relationship. The point is, I've not been in that situation, but I have had people talk about it, and I can imagine how it can, create a problem in a relationship, and stuff, right? I get it. But I just feel it's an addiction, right? It's an addiction. It's somebody who is fighting something, dealing with something, right? And I won't call it an addiction. It's like a weakness. That's, for me, that's just the best way. It's a weakness. It's a character flaw. And I believe it can be fixed. It's not hopeless. It's not hooked on drugs. The guy is hooked on porn. It can be fixed. It's a weakness, and he could work on it. There are ways to get help and really like seek help and come out of that habit, come out of the weakness, And for me, I just feel ending the relationship because of that, ending the marriage because of that. This is not people who we are dating. It's not like this couple that we are dating. They're not married yet. They're not yet married. These are married couples. You said I do. You've done the whole nine. You've been with this person. I don't know if you have children or you just have cats, and you want to end it because of that. I mean, I get that it is a problem, but I don't know if it is if it's that kind of problem. I don't think it is a marriage ending problem, right? I don't think it's a marriage ending problem. For me, I feel there are so many. What I believe is a marriage ending problem is so little, right? So little, and I don't think having a partner who is addicted to porn is one of those. I just don't think that is one of those. But it's her life, I guess. This is from Blue Dodger Man. He said it's not porn addiction, it's degeneracy. I get where you're coming from. Like I said, is a weakness. There are people, I've seen Christians. I know of Christians who have struggled with that habit. Is something that you can fall into and you can fall out of. I mean, and you can come out of. That's why I'm like, to end the relationship because of that. And you say, oh, I struggled with him. We tried. I'm like, try harder, man. He should try harder. He should pull in his weight. You should. Like, no. It's people come out of it. Like, it's not really that hard. It's not like you are hooked on crack, or even people come out of crack addiction, heroin addiction, people who are drunkenness, alcoholics, they come out of it. How much more porn addiction? And for me, I just feel ending the relationship because of that, ending the marriage because of that. I think that is killing a fly with a sledgehammer, if you ask me. Organic Cheese said the husband gave into sin and temptation. The marriage was bound to fall apart eventually. I don't agree. Mr. Dislike said, hello to you too. How is it going? How much money do you make with? Come on. Man, Mr. Dislike is asking a lot of personal questions. I don't answer personal questions, sir. Or ma. It's sir because you're Mr. Dislike. So yeah, that's my take on that. I'm like, porn addiction is really not. It's an issue, but it's not that big of an issue. It doesn't warrant, ending the relationship. People come out of it. People come out of it. And if you really wanted to work it out, it can work out. Except there is more to that than just the fact that he has, maybe he doesn't listen. There's something else. What else is going on? Is it just that? Is it accompanied with other things? And that's the problem about putting something online, especially on TikTok with Jesus, with Ocean's soundtrack playing, not giving us enough information about what was going on, and then now we are left with this information you just dumped on our laps, and now we want to know, like, what do we do with this? And yeah, well, the takeaway from that is just don't post this kind of thing on social media. I just feel there's no point. There's no lesson. Like, I'm not sure that anybody looked at this and was like, yeah, the lesson in this is maybe the lesson is porn addiction can end your marriage. Yeah, maybe that's the takeaway from that. Okay, fellas, if you are listening to this and you have an issue with pornography, fix it. Try and get help. Okay, it can ruin and end, a loving marriage. But if you ask me with regards to this marriage, I feel there's more to that than there's more to it than just porn addiction. That's what I would say. And then the master is responding to Mr. Dislike, who said he wants to get the information. Mr. Dislike will not get the information. Mr. Dislike is like, I feel like you are a good person. Let me respond to you the same way Jesus responded when he was called. I don't know, I'm being religious today. I'm a religious person anyway, but I'm sounding overly religious today. But the response I want to give is the one that I got from the Bible, which is there is none good but God. Okay? This is from Ado's Invented Country, rock, hip hop, gospel, and more. She said, how come Nigerians really bring awareness to their ancestral home? Why don't you do things to help your family? This is interesting. I don't understand what you mean. Okay, why don't you do this to help your family left behind? Treacherous and weird. My family is not left behind. People always make assumptions about you on social media. That's one of the wonderful things. Anyway, I do the same thing, so I understand. Okay, my family, they're not left behind. You don't know anything about them. You don't know anything about people that you don't know anything about where I'm coming from, you know. And here's something I want to say with regards to that. I think I need to highlight that, and I need to say something about that. There are many problems in Africa. Many. Okay, so many problems in Africa. But that I live in Africa does not mean I experience all of them, or that I've experienced all of them, or that I'm knowledgeable about all of them. The average Nigerian doesn't know half of the problem of Nigeria. You understand what I'm saying? And information, access to information like you have abroad, where people can get access to information about certain things. The information is not just openly available for you to just a quick Google search and you get the answer. Okay? So talking about bringing awareness about what is going on in Africa, the information I can give you is very limited. That's one. And I've done that in my channel, although not the majority of my channel is not about that, but I have some videos I've made in my channel that talks about, Africa, things going on in Africa, things going on in Nigeria, things going on in South Africa, things going on in some parts of Africa. I've done, especially when I read an article about it or is in the news, I talk about it if I come across it, right? But for the most part, just know that the information in Africa is limited, is restricted. And if you are the people who can give you an actual breakdown of things that are going on in Africa in a way that you will understand are people who dedicate their life to investigative journalists and stuff like that. And sadly, I'm not one of them. In case you are looking for somebody who will break all the Africa dynamics, you have to be an investigative journalist for that. And I'm not one of them, okay? I have other things that I have my hands on to have time to really dig up certain information and, bring. And by digging, I mean real digging. I'm talking. And another thing you need to know is, which is very important as an investigative journalist, is that you're putting your life at risk. That's why there are not so many in Nigeria, especially. You're putting it, because when you start asking questions, it's not like in the West, you ask questions and you're fine. I don't know how it is over there, but here you start asking questions. Well, you are making certain people aware of you, and that's not something you want to do. So I don't know if I've been able to answer that and answer it very well. Anyways, moving forward to something else with regards to the whole marriage stuff. And also, one thing I want to do with my channel is, and I think I need to make this point, which still in relation with, related to what Ado's invented country rock, hip hop, gospel, and more. Oh, it's just now I'm taking note of the username. What is Ado's, please? Ado's invented country rock, hip hop, gospel, and more. Who are ADOS? I don't know who they are. If you can clarify, but I just think your username is fascinating. Okay, something else I need to point out about this here is one thing people need to understand about my channel, especially, is that this is a commentary channel. I do commentaries, I do reactions. This is not I'm not a journalist. I remember telling a friend of mine that I'm not a journalist. And then one day I told her, oh, the next video I'm going to do is me doing some journalism. And she was like, I thought you said you're not a journalist. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not a journalist. But anyways, I'm not a journalist. I comment on news articles. If it's popular, if it comes to my attention, I'll talk about it. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be popular and I'll talk about it. Okay, that is what I do. I comment on issues that are happening when they, make the news. Okay, so that's essentially what I do with my channel. As much as you want me to do other things, sadly, that's not what I'm doing right now. Maybe in the future, I will venture into some of those things. Hopefully, let's see how it goes, right? I'm still even trying to figure out my channel. Some people don't understand this yet about the channel, is that we are still trying to figure this whole thing out, okay? And I'm happy that so many of you are patient with me during the figuring out process. And you're patient, you're kind, and you're understanding, and you are with me for the long haul, and I appreciate that. But I want you guys to understand, in this Nigerian perspective with Frank Steven, it's still a work in progress. There's so many things we haven't figured out yet. Okay, moving on. So according to Mrs. ADOS, she said, American descendants of chattel slavery, US. That's what it means. And you said they invented country, rock, hip-hop, gospel, and more? Well, I don't know. People keep saying Africa invented so many things, and I'm like, I don't know. Time said I missed the shot. Oh, okay, I will get back to making them. I've not made shots in a while, but I'll get back to making them. Promise I will. Just need to do something. This is from Organic Cheese. I love the vibe and honesty from your videos. God bless you. Thank you so much. So just to say one thing. Sorry, I'm still on. To be honest with you, I don't agree with the statement that not the good answer part, just the username, that American descendant of slavery invented country, rock, hip hop, and gospel and more. No, I don't think they do. I don't think they did. They influenced it, right? People should, when it comes to culture, I don't think everything about culture is invented. We invented this, especially when in the US, where multiculturalism is an issue. It's a thing, not an issue, it's a thing, right? Where people from different culture come together. You get to influence the culture of that place, okay? And your influence is something that should not be, looked down on or undermined or ignored or not appreciated, right? But it does not mean you invented it, right? So, like Afrobeat, for example, Afrobeat was a combination of jazz, juju, so many, like Fela combined so many musical elements together to create not Afrobeat, rather Afro music, right? Which was Fela's genre of music. It had so many foreign influences. It was not, although yes, it was an original sound, but it was influenced by other sounds that were, in existence at the time. Something does not come out of nothing. So at the end of the day, culture is just have so many people drawing influence from so many things. So to say one person invented something, for me, I just feel it's a little bit pompous, if you ask me. So yeah. So this is from the master. I said I always like the long form videos, honestly. Yeah, some people prefer that. Some people prefer other things. I'm trying to give everybody what they want. When it has to do with length, of course, when it has to do with my opinion, I'll say what I think. Our friend here said, you say that because you can't show what Africans invented. Someone had to invent everything. I don't even know what that means. Anyways, moving on. Let's see. Okay, so here's another funny TikTok.
You never want to
that I want you guys to pay attention to. Let's depart from all the stuff we've been talking about and just move to something funnier, I guess.
You never want to get married on the 7th, 16th, or 25th because 7, 16, 25 are loner energy. So basically, like, all you have to do is look through history. Donald Trump married his first wife, Ivanka, on the 7th. Well, obviously that marriage failed. So what you have to understand is, if you do get married, never get married on the 7th, 16th, 25th, because if you do, you might as well invite your divorce attorney to the wedding.
There you have it, guys. These are the kind of advice that I'm looking forward to. Don't get married on the 7th, 14th, and 25th. Okay, those are loner months. And if you get married, just if you're planning to get married on the 7th, 14th, and 25th, you might as well invite your invite your divorce lawyer to the wedding, because it's going to split. This is one thing I like about TikTok. You're going to hear ridiculous things. Like, you're going to hear things, you're like, Jesus, people are just insane. People are really insane. Are you serious right now? What has the year got to do with anything? What has the year got to do with anything? You know, and I just like how, I don't even know, is it arbitrary? Is there something, is there like an omen in the West, or whatever Western culture there is? You know, the West these days, I see it as a conglomerate of so many cultures. I don't know which people came up with the idea that 7th, 16th, and 25th, those are, you know, bad days. Superstitious beliefs like that. Africa has so many superstitious beliefs. I don't even know. I can't even think of anyone right now, but there are so many. They'll tell you, if you like in Nigeria, for example, if you go to a store, like a roadside, like a kiosk, or, you know, mom and pop store. Let me use the language that Westerners want. Just a small store where they sell provisions. If you go there and you go to buy something and you don't have, let's say you are the first person, you're the first customer they have that day, and as the first customer, let's say the currency, the note you're using to pay is like a big note, and they can't get change, like they can't find your balance. Let's say you came with 1,000 naira note and you bought something of 200, and they can't find your balance. They'll be like, hey, oh God, Jesus, this one that you're opening my market like this. So if that it means, say, let me say it how they say it. It means, say, every person will go call my shop today, they no go get change. What he's trying to say, or what that person is trying to say, is that whatever happened with the first customer determines what will happen throughout that day. There are people who believe that, you know, those kind of superstitious beliefs. And I don't even know where they come up with all those things. And I'm like, when it comes to marriage, leave those things. So many things about marriage are pretty practical. Like, it's not voodoo. It's not astronomy. Okay, it's not magic. You know, to have a good marriage, you don't need to bend. You know, there are no rituals or superstitious practices you need to engage in. It's really practical, right? It's really, really practical. And moving on. Here's another one, and
people say, "Oh, like you need to love the same."
Here is another video. Today's live stream may not be long. Okay, so understand if it doesn't get to 2 hours, it will not be long, because I've done like how many this week, so it's kind of a lot. Okay, so today's live stream may not be 2 hours long. Okay, and this is I believe this will be like the last video we'll be reacting to, but it's not. It doesn't mean the live stream is coming to an end. You know, I may take some of your questions. If you have things you want to ask me, we may do that. And when we are done with that, you know, we'll close the live stream. Here is the master saying loner energy. Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said. Said 7th, 14th, and 25th, loner energy. And Tammy is saying, I think it's from, you know, waking up on the wrong side, defining the day. The same with the first notion of January defining the year. Yeah, there are people in Nigeria, I know that omen, that people believe the first of everything defines the rest of it. And this is the same country that often, I don't know if they are aware of the saying that, you know, it doesn't matter how you start. You know, it doesn't matter how you start. Those same people who are like the first thing that happened, the first hour of the day is going to determine the rest of the day, will still tell you it doesn't matter how it starts. It's just how people can hold two conflicting ideas at the same time. It's interesting. I find it interesting. And I believe people should not be superstitious. Right? Don't be, especially don't I don't even know. Time is like close the live stream and sleep, or tomorrow is church. Don't worry. I'm good. I know how to wake up early. Okay. Or attend third service, depending. Yeah. Anyway, so let's react to this last video.
People say, oh, like you need to love the same things. No, you need to hate the same things. Hate is so much more powerful than love. It's not even close. It's not even close. Let your love grow through bitterness and spite. Honestly, me and my wife have a couple friends in our life that everything they do, we hate. And that's why they're in our lives. They are the single most important thing in our relationship because they do something annoying and then we get together and talk crap about them and then our love blossoms. That's what they're there for. They're the young couple that always tries to like flex or like get on our level or like try and impress us. You know, Dustin, every night we still fall asleep together cuddling. I'm not impressed by that. You know why you cuddle early on in a relationship? Because you're still afraid they're going to leave. That's why. You're not cuddling, you're holding on. That's not romance, that's a hostage situation. They'd leave if they could. You know what a happy couple looks like in bed? Could you be further away? Further away. I don't want to feel you. Further away. I don't want to know you're here. Like a happy couple invented the California king because the king bed didn't suffice. Further away. Sure.
What do you guys think? What do you think? Is that true? Anyway, this is what you find among couples who have been together for a very long time. For a very, very long time. All those like you don't see, is rarely do you see old couples holding hands and stuff like that. There are old couples who do, and it's fine, it's cool, it's cute. But old couples are just so comfortable around each other. Like they're just so they're not trying to do anything. They're not trying to be anything. They're just so comfortable around each other. They make fun of each other. They just, I mean, it's and there's something he said that it's funny, it's a joke, but there's some truth to it, which is the fact that hate is stronger than hate is a strong force than love. Now, I'm not saying like said like that is wrong. Of course, I believe that love is stronger because I've seen people do crazy things for love, right? I believe love is stronger. Maybe it's just me, but I believe the feeling of love is stronger. It makes people do crazy, stupid things. Hatred does too, but I think love is stronger. Anyways, I stand to be corrected. But the point I'm trying to point out there is that if there's somebody you're married to, I don't think you should love everything about the person. I don't think it's possible to love everything about the person. There are certain things you hate about that person and be like, I don't like the fact, or I hate this. I really don't like this. And it depends on, it doesn't mean obviously that the marriage will not work because there are certain things about this person that I hate, And this is another funny thing. There are certain things about the person you will hate and you only discover those things after you are married. So if you're that person who is like, no, I need to love everything about the person I get married to, then you're going to get married and you're going to find that there are so many things about the person you did not know that you are discovering. And it's not like they're trying to hide it because people are always, evolving. Being single is is a state of being. Being married is another state of being. And believe me, who you are as a single person will not be the same as who you are as a married person. There are certain things about you that you even learn about yourself. There are certain things you learn about yourself by virtue of the fact that you are married. You didn't know those things as a single person, but now as a married couple, you're learning that. So when those things begin to manifest, the other person, your spouse, there are things about your spouse that just manifest from nowhere, and you have to deal with that. And you may not like that, and you may be, angry with that. So, working through those things make the marriage stronger, if you ask me. And that's what I think. Let me go to the comments. I want to highlight your comments. So guys, send in the comments. Send me in the comments. I'm highlighting all of them and I'm going to read all of them. And please let it be related to what we are talking about or something close, okay? Ask questions that I can answer. Don't ask me how did the universe begin? I don't know. Okay. So this is from Blue Dodger Man. It said the West is a melting pot of a lot of great things, but also bad things. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You are hoping as a melting pot it to be like gold, where so many bad things fall apart and the good stays. But It's a rough process, I guess. In Nigeria, multiculturalism is a thing that, as a Nigerian, you're not a stranger to, right? Nigeria has over 200 ethnic groups with, different languages or different variation of the same language, which you call dialects, different language entirely. You see it in different parts of the country. We multiculturalism is something we've experienced here, and it can be an issue. Trying to work together with people who don't share who don't come share the same ancestry as you. It's not that as easy as many people who want to paint it. People, especially people who will say there's strength in diversity. Do I think diversity is beautiful? Diversity is, especially when you're able to work it out, is awesome. But it is not self-evident that being diverse is a strong thing. It's not evident that it is. It is, but in fact, united will stand, divided will fall. We say that all the time. So I think strength in diversity is that we are trying. The problem with strength in diversity is that you are encouraging people to focus more on the things that they don't have in common. You understand? And the only way for diversity to work is for us to have a lot in common. So funny, the only way for us to be diverse, the only way for diversity to work is for us to focus less on our diversity. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyways, yeah. And John is saying, Frank, what is the divorce rate in Nigeria? Is divorce even a thing in Nigeria? It is. And we don't have a statistics bureau to compute that. We don't even know how many people are living in Nigeria right now. That is something that we cannot. The last census was when? I can't even remember. And we don't know how many. Many of the figures you get where they say there are over 200 million people in Nigeria, that's speculative. There's probably more or even less. We don't know. So we really don't have the government. When it comes to data that has to do with the people, we don't have that. Okay, so yeah. And the many marriages in Nigeria, not many, some marriages in Nigeria are done traditionally, right? So even if you want to, document or document the rate of divorce in Nigeria, it will be difficult. But is divorce a thing in Nigeria? Yes. Is it rampant? Well, among celebrities, yes, but among average individuals, no. Okay, and many marriages don't end in divorce. Both couples just separate, but they are married. They're still married, but they're separate. It's only when you live in Lagos and Abuja, you get to see, the people actually going through the legal process of ending a marriage. And some people just like some men just get a second wife, right? Instead of ending the first relationship, they abandon their first wife and get it. Those things happen in Nigeria, and that's sad. We need marriage reform in Nigeria. It's not really as rosy as where people be like, oh, in third world countries they have the marriage this thing figured out. Yeah, when it comes to values and principles, there are some things about African marriage culture that is to be emulated. But when it comes to the legal aspect of it, there are so many things not to be emulated. So yeah, there is your answer. And this is from Tammy. She said, I think it's from okay, we've looked at that. We've looked at that. Sorry. Let me catch up. This is from John also. He said, Frank, what will your next live stream topic be about? That will be on Sunday. Funny enough, the next live stream will be on Sunday. I will be reacting to I have two things I want to react to. But on Sunday, we'll be reacting to Neil deGrasse Tyson's interview with trigonometry. That is what we'll be reacting to, especially the part where he talked about trans people in sports, trans kids in sports and stuff like that. So that's what we'll be talking about. This is Prospero saying love conquers all. I think you're responding to when I was talking about which is stronger, love or hate. I believe, yeah, that's true. And yeah, Prosperity is saying you have to focus on the good side of well, you listen, marriage is a package deal. Like is a package deal. Is that the word is a Jesus, there's the expression and it is escaping my mind. you get everything in marriage. I don't know if it's package deal that it is called. I'll have to Google it later. And it will bug my mind that I'm not getting the expression correctly. Anyway, so it's a complete, it's a complete package. Okay, you get everything: the good, the bad, the ugly. I don't know if you'll be able to pick and choose, but you just have to endure, sometimes compromise. See if you can influence the other person to change. If there are things you cannot stand, and try and work things out. I don't know if it is possible in a marriage to ignore the bad, right? Because the bad will always be in your face. I don't know. I mean, think about it. Let's say you even have a roommate. Imagine you have a roommate. Let's talk about, like, as a guy, you have a roommate who have certain bad habits that you don't like. You think you can ignore it and just be like, I'm going to focus on the good side. I don't know how well you can ignore it. You have to talk about it. You have to address it. You have to find a way around it. But ignoring, I don't know if you can ignore it. I don't know if you can ignore it. This is from Organized Cheese. I believe marriage would be better if it was like it was back then. Marriage should be beneficial for both sides. I get where you're coming from, and I agree to an extent. Yes, there are some things about how marriage was back then, in different cultures, because the truth is, even in Nigeria, the way marriage is today is not how it was like 50, 60 years ago. There are some things from the past that we should bring back, but not everything. There's something we do with the past that is just sometimes it's fun. We romanticize about the past, right? I idolize it and make it look like everything was perfect in the past, but it's not true. Okay, there's so many things we did in the past that we had to stop doing because we realized, even in marriage back then, people married at the age of 15, 13, 14, women especially, and it wasn't good. Okay, it wasn't a good thing. Now we've realized that those practices were not good, and many custom and cultures are doing away with that. Okay, so yeah, it's not everything about the past that we should be like, yeah, we should bring everything back. There's some things we did in the past that we are good, and there's some things we did in the past that we should not be proud of. So yeah. This is from I'm trying to get organizers say loving your wife makes you a happy man. I believe it can contribute to your happiness. I agree. It can contribute to your. I said sorry, but I'm going to ask a question out of pocket, out of topic. What's your thought on 7 days Adventist? I don't want to get into that topic right now. I appreciate the question, but I don't want to get into that topic right now. Temi said, I think we act on negative emotions more. I mean, even comedy is about bad things, I guess. And that's the sinful nature of man. Bad things seem to shine more. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Listen, both positive and negative emotions, you should learn to control both. Okay? You're a Christian, so you understand this story of Herod, right? King Herod. Was it Herod, right? Was it Herod? Yeah, it was Herod, who saw his daughter dancing and was fascinated by her performance, and out of enjoyment, excess enjoyment, is like, ask anything you want, even if it's half of this, or how they talk in those days or in the Bible days. Ask whatever and I will give to you. And the daughter was like, oh, give me the head of John the Baptist. That is somebody saying something out of extreme happiness. Even whether you are too happy, too excited, too thrilled, having a blast, even in that moment, you should learn to control it. Not too much. Not too much. Everything should be done in moderation, not too much. But to your point, yes, people often, it's easy to get lost in negativity. It's really easy. It's tempting, right? It's tempting to get lost in negativity and only focus on the negatives, but we have been called upon, and the best way to live your life is to be grateful. And for you to be grateful, you have to consider also the positives, right? You have to always, look at the sunny side of life and find hope. Being positive is not, for me, it's just being, the best way for me to describe being positive is being hopeful. Don't have this hopeless view of life. Be hopeful and be grateful. That's the key to happiness for me. Like, one of the keys, right? One of the things you need to do to be happy, in addition to loving your wife, okay, and making your wife happy as a man, or as a woman making your husband happy, is being grateful and being hopeful, right? Is something that can, ensure you live a happy life, And John is saying, congratulations on having more views tonight. I think more people are recognizing how great your live stream is. Thank you. Yeah, we are working on it. We are working on it to get better, hopefully. We are planning that we'll become more eloquent, more entertaining, more, funny, whatever it is we need to be. Hopefully, we'll get everything in order. And we'll be putting up great shows for you night after night. Tammy is explaining something to John. He said, for the divorce, we have two types, the court type and the husband keep kicking out the wife type. A rare third would be the husband disappearing or traveling and never returning. Yeah, all of that is yeah. I don't think I should add anything to that. That's just 100% what it is. And the master is saying, oh man, Neil deGrasse Tyson is so annoying. Jesus Christ. Guys, that interview was, well, I don't want to give too much away about what we'll talk about tomorrow, but Jesus Christ, that guy is an annoying human being. I don't know if he knows that, but he's so annoying. I watched the interview with Trigonometry, and you know when you are rage watching something, you are watching something with rage. Jesus Christ, the guy is so annoying. He's so annoying and condescending too. Like, dude, Jesus, you did not invent a time machine, or you're not Oppenheimer or something. You're not Bill Gates, you're not Jeff Bezos, you're just an astrophysicist, for Christ's sake. I don't know what theory you came up with that you are being celebrated for, other than the fact that you popularize physics theories, certain theories in physics. That's all you've ever done. Yet the level of as in condescension you get from this guy, hey, I never see. My God, it's like this guy is annoying. Anyway, we'll be talking about that tomorrow. So just brace yourself, guys. Tomorrow is going to be whew. And UD is going to be with us tomorrow as well. UD is going to be joining us, so it's not going to be just me. My brother is going to be on the live stream, so it's going to be fun. And this is cis guy, hailing us from Canada. Thank you for joining. I hope you've been enjoying the live stream so far. The master is saying so arrogant. Exactly. Neil as in so arrogant. I'm not saying that he's not right sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying you cannot listen to him and be like, okay, but dude, if he doesn't agree with you, he can be freaking condescending. He can. That's bad. That's really bad. Here's the question. Say, does the Bible say anything about positive versus negative marriage? The Bible says a lot about marriage. Man, you should go to all those pastors on YouTube, especially the good ones, and they will give you a lot about marriage. The Bible has a lot to say about marriage, a lot of advice, a lot of things to do about marriage, a lot of things, blueprint of how a woman should conduct herself, how a man should conduct himself. You find in the Bible. And the Bible also have instances of good marriages, good spouses, and instances of bad spouses. There's so many stories in the Bible that you can learn from. So positive versus negative, well, not expressly, but implied, you will find in the Bible. Yes. This is Aslan, reaching us from Turkey. How is it? How is Turkey? I hope everything is going well over there. This commenter is saying, I love your videos, especially the ones on Canada, if I recall. Yeah, I did. I've done. Man, if I decide to do a lot of Canada, is very interesting. Okay, very interesting country. I want to be able to evenly cover every part of the globe, right? Not just Canada, the West. I also want to talk more about Africa. Tammy is saying, don't worry, I'm big on faith. I don't like to dwell on negativity. That's good. My name is Dallas, by the way, if you're wondering. Oh, thank you, Dallas. You're named after a state in the US. That's interesting. I remember one time in the news of this Ngozi Fulani. I don't know if you remember that story, guys, of this lady called Ngozi Fulani. She got a lady fired in the UK. I don't know if you remember that lady. When I saw the name Ngozi Fulani, I was like, who is this person? This is a weird combination. Who is this person? Does she know that? And it turns out that she gave herself that name. That's not the name she was born with. She's fascinated by West Africa, I guess. And then she named herself Ngozi, which is an Igbo name, and Fulani, which is a tribe in Nigeria. I was like, what a weird. I mean, speak of cultural appropriation. You just took names that you don't know the meaning and you just merge it together. Nigerians don't give themselves names like that. We don't. This is something people don't know about, like African names, right? In Africa, your name, the name you bear, tell people a lot about who you are. Like in Nigeria, your name alone tells people a lot. Like Frank Steven. And when somebody hear my name, Frank Steven, the first question they ask me is, are you from Port Harcourt? Or are you from Bayelsa? Or are you from Delta? The reason is because people who bear, two English names, first name and last name, English names, are usually from that region. But I'm not from that region, but people usually, that is what you get. So when you tell, like if somebody, like I stay in the East, if I hear somebody whose surname is Eze, Ugu, what's your other one? Ago, those three names, when I hear that, it tells me this person is from Enugu. Like there's just something about your surname that let people know where you are from. And I believe it applies also in the West. So when I saw that name, that Ngozi Fulani, I was like, this person just, like, I can't even tell anything about, like, if it doesn't even tell anything about who you are. You're just taking a name, not knowing what that name, what having that name implies. And you're just using it. For me, that's a clear-cut example of, in Americans like to complain about, as in Black Americans, cultural appropriation that they like. It's taking something, not knowing what it means, and just using it. And you don't know you're like, Ngozi Fulani, what does that even mean? Your name is Ngozi and your surname is Fulani. So your father is a Fulani man and he gave you the name Ngozi. It's not possible, right? In giving of names, that is not possible. The first time I saw the name, I really thought the lady was a Nigerian. Then I found out that she wasn't. She was just appropriating Nigerian culture. It was annoying as hell. Anyways, sorry to go on that, on that tangent. This is Joyce. I like Frank's name. I like that Frank's name is the Nigerian prince. Now I know who is emailing me about money. Yeah, that's me. That's me. First, some people were calling me the Nigerian prince in the comments. I was kind of annoyed by it, but I decided to what is it called? To appropriate the name. So I am the Nigerian prince. Okay. And here's Organic Cheese saying, I agree, names linked to culture, at least we are where, yeah, that's what is applicable where I'm from. Your name tell people a lot about who you are. So don't just take names like that. And this is Tammy. She said, funny enough, I'm from Rivers State and I don't have an English name. My name is, I cannot pronounce your name. Tammy is a short form, and Austin from Jane Austen. Yeah, but many people from Rivers, like maybe not Rivers, but Bayelsa, Delta. I know people from the South. We once had a South president whose name was Goodluck Jonathan, and that was his name until he started running for president, and then we realized that he had a middle name called Ebele. I still remember, but before that, he was known as Goodluck. The master said, when is my lottery money coming, bro? It's not coming. Don't you understand that you've been duped? Hey, Lou Buzubet, you're joining us late, but you're welcome nonetheless. We already we are towards the end, and I'm just reacting to comments. If you guys keep commenting, I'm going to react to those comments, and that's just how the live stream is going to go until we run out of comments. So if you want me to keep going, keep giving me comments. And yeah, so I was talking about names, anyways. I was talking about Nigerian names and how they tell you a lot about. Who people are and where they are from, and you just get to know a lot about people from their names. And one other thing that I get when people hear that my name is Frank Steven, they think is It's not really my name. That's one that I get. And you're like, is that really your name? And it's not just like people in the comment section. It's some people I meet in real life. I remember the first time I went to the bank to like I was 16, opening a bank account for the first time, and I said my name is Frank Steven, and I remember the bank lady just looked up at me. I'm like, "What? You say your name is?" So my name is Frank Steven. Like, seriously, do you have any other name? That's the next thing they just ask you. Do you have any other name? I'm like, as if the two is not enough. Do people open bank accounts with 4 names? Well, they do, sure. 3 actually, but yeah, Frank Steven was the name, and I had to include my middle name. I don't like giving my middle name. My middle name is Ihuoma, and not so many people know how to pronounce it. And I don't go by that name often. In fact, it was until I got to the university. It was in the university that people were interested in my middle name. When I was in university, they wanted to know my middle name. And some people called me by my middle name, but not so many. The middle name did not. The middle name thing for me was like a fade. I mean, a phase rather. It was a phase. There was a phase in my life where people preferred to call me by my middle name. But over time, people just went back to calling me Frank. So Temi is saying that's why I have to introduce myself as Temi. The first name still has 6 letters I didn't add. Yeah. Where's that long name? Where's that long name? I can't find the comments. Okay. Yes, this is the. Whoa, your name is really. What tribe in Bias I say Bias, a River State are you from? I would like to know. And here is the comment. Say, do you think that the Trudeaus separated because of negativity? I think they've had problem in their marriage for a long time, and there are rumors that Justin Trudeau is, attracted to men. There is that, I don't know how true that is, but Canadians can tell us more. Well. Lubus, yeah, please do. I understand. It's not every time that people get to catch me live, but it's cool. Thank you for joining us anyways. John is saying, if you want to annoy Frank, ask him what color is his Bugatti or call him Top G. No, I'm not annoyed by that. Oh, you think I am? No, what color is my Bugatti? The color of a translucent sea creature. That is the color of my Bugatti. The color of my Bugatti is the same color of water. So, yeah, that's the color of my my Bugatti. Okay. Yes. Is there marriages? Are there marriages that have some negativity but majority positive? Yeah. Every marriage has ups and downs. It's just like life and everything, right? Just like life in general, marriage also have ups and downs. Is expected. Okay, so yeah. But it says cyan blue is the color. No, not the color of the ocean. I mean the color of water. That's the color of my Bugatti. She said, okay, Tammy is saying the Kalabari language, part of Ijo. Oh, okay. I'm from the East. Only Igbo Kambu. I don't know if I spoke that in where I used to butcher Igbo, and Jesus Christ, I grew up in Lagos, guys. Don't blame me. I've only stayed in Enugu for not so long, and I'm butchering the Igbo. Bad. Anyway, I'm an Igbo person from Abia State. God's own state. That's where I'm from. Just I thought Africa doesn't have water. I've been tricked. Yeah. I remember one time there was this story that I reacted to where I was like, this shot that I did where I was reacting to flooding in South Africa. And I was like, people in the West will be shocked to learn that South Africa is getting flooded because what they've been told about Africa is that Africa doesn't have water. A few days ago, Enugu was flooded. For the first time since I've been in this state, this was the first time I was seeing flooding in Enugu. And the funny thing about it? Enugu doesn't have water. what I mean is Enugu doesn't have clean water. Like it's hard to get clean water in Enugu, but flooding. Enugu geography is like, we are going to give you flooding sometimes, but when it comes to clean water, we are not going to give you that. It's just crazy, And if only the water problem in Enugu is just if only the government if only the government would just because they are the ones in charge of providing the state with water, right? If only they would just fix it, right? There's a place in Enugu known as a Night Mile that has the cleanest, like they say, it's the cleanest source of water in the whole of Eastern Nigeria, right? So many, companies and factories that need clean water to operate, get their water and often are located close to Night Mile. The government could, do something, run an infrastructure where the water from Night Mile can, supply water to the whole state. And, even though you put a bill or whatever, the Enugu people will pay. They are not, I don't think the problem of Enugu people is money. It's just create the infrastructure and we'll pay for it, whatever the fees would be. But incompetence, using the word incompetence does not do justice to just how ridiculous Enugu state government, Eastern government in Nigeria, the Eastern governors in Nigeria, and the government in various Eastern states are just ridiculously incompetent and useless, to say the least. So, yeah. And yeah, it's not just water. We have I don't like to say we don't have electricity. Okay, we do. It's just epileptic. It's we do load shedding in Nigeria. So the electricity is not constant. That's the thing. And also the internet service is just as in poor. One time I was thinking about it and I was like, dude, I have to, maybe if you guys give me enough super chats, I'm going to buy a, what's it called now? What's this Elon Musk's internet service? What's it called, guys? I've forgotten the name. I'm going to buy that so that we'll not have issues, technical issues when I'm live streaming. And this is from this commenter said, what do you think of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and what are the major downs of marriages, America versus Russia? Funny enough, the rate of divorce in Russia is higher than the rate of divorce in America. Facts. Google it and you see that I'm right. I think Russia and America, they both share the same problem of in marriage, which I think the major problem in the West is not feminism, like many people think. It's not effeminate men, toxic, whatever. It's just modernization. People are coming up with different names for it, but it's just, I read yesterday the first chapter of The Feminine Mystique. I don't know if you guys have heard of that book, The Feminine Mystique. Let me get the name of the person who wrote the book, The Feminine Mystique. The Feminine Mystique, written by Betty Friedan, Betty Friedan, and she's accredited as being the pioneer of second wave feminism. I read the first chapter of the book, and my conclusion was that she thought she was describing what she was describing when I read was just modernization. Like when I finished, I was like, this is a problem of modernization. You find yourself, your marriage, your existence, everything you from the past, right? Coming into a new world with so many, new things. And you are trying to find a way to, conduct yourself and excel and thrive in the face of new things. Sometimes human beings think, oh no, technology is going to fix our problem. Advancement in science is going to fix all of our problem. But even those advancements those advancements themselves create new challenges. And I think that is one of the problems that marriage is facing in the West, is that modernization, advancement in science and technology, democracy, all the movement from the 60s have created a new society that the West is still trying to understand how to operate in, and that's why sometimes I am, or not, let me not say sometimes, because in the past I haven't been, but recently I'm beginning to be empathetic towards the cultural state of the West. Yes, it's a sham. There's so many things people discuss, and I'm like, come on, are we really going to be having this conversation? Like, what is a woman and stuff like that? But then again, I understand that this is a problem of modernization, and I get it. It's not easy. In Africa, we don't face that problem, right? We are still dealing with problem of the primitive man for the most part. Okay. So it's just different region, different problem. I think that's the problem that Western government, and Western culture is trying to wrestle with and deal with. Ugo said, would you ever move out of Nigeria? Well, yes, it depends on why I am moving out and where I'm moving to. Yeah, so. That said, Frank, I'm being sarcastic. How are you life if you have neither? Exactly. That's true. Yeah, but maybe why I didn't get the sarcasm is that Nigerians often, or the West often say that thing about Nigeria. Or Africa, when you want to see Westerners describe Africa, they are either they blow things out of proportion, right? That's one thing I see Westerners do when they talk about Africa. They blow things out of proportion. You see that Africa is too good, or Africa is too bad. People will be like, I know you've heard that Africa is this, but do you know, this exists in Africa, and I'm like, yo, you're just blowing things out of proportion, okay? We'll just talk about Africa like it is, don't overemphasize it. It is not great, it is not all that great, it is not all that bad, But I get the sarcasm, don't mind me. Sorry, I just like to over-explain things. Lil Buzibet rather said, people in the West are a mash of the world's best and worst, though, especially in the US. We can never agree on anything. Of course, we have a hard time coming together. I mean, as a Nigerian, I really relate. This is not something that I don't relate. I really relate. It's not easy. It's really not easy. Diversity is not as advertised. It's not. And I won't say, oh, don't. It's not like we should all be, the way the world is today. You cannot prevent the influx of people, especially if you're a place like the US. You cannot 100% prevent the influx of people from different cultures. You may even need it. It may even lead to something good, but it comes with a lot of problem, and it's not as advertised as if it's all rosy and wonderful. Okay, I just wish so many of us, when we talk about issues, and mainly politicians, essentially, and those who like to push an ideology, I just wish when they talk about issues, they are just realistic about it, especially when they talk about multiculturalism and diversity. I just wish they will be realistic about it. Yes, it has its ups and it has its downs. So yeah, I've had a couple. It's a tongue twisting, tough talk twisting. I've had a couple throughout this live stream. I've had a couple. Yeah. Exactly. They either think we all eat dogs or have lion pets. They do. Like I'm like, it's hard to talk about Africa. People don't really understand this. Like, it's not that simple. It's really hard to just say a generic. The best way to describe Africa is a big continent with many, as in more than 1,000 cultures, okay, and peoples and ethnicities, and more than 1,000. You cannot say one true thing about all of them. Let me give you an instance. In Nigeria, the general consensus is that, Nigerians frown upon a man marrying a man, a man marrying a man, a woman marrying a woman, right? Which you call gay marriage, right? But do you know that there is a tradition in Igbo culture where a woman marries another woman. I know you people are hearing this one. And ask around, especially I think you find this in Nsukka, a place in Enugu, a group, an ethnicity, a sub-ethnicity in Enugu is a practice where a woman marries another woman. But of course, it's not done because they love each other. It's like an arrangement. Okay, let's say a woman doesn't want to get a husband or is finding it hard to get a husband, but wants to have children, and she cannot have children, right? There are two ways this happens. There are two instances where this happens. One is, let's say a woman is trying to have children, she cannot have children, right? Then she marries another woman, right? And bring the woman to her husband. This is I don't think it's still applicable today, but it's a culture that used to. I don't know if it's still practiced today. I don't know if it's still being, and I don't think it is consistent with natural justice, equity, and good conscience. What I'm saying is that it is not legal, but it's cultural. Like, it's not, that marriage is not recognized legally, right? There's no legal claim or rights or protection for that kind of cultural arrangement. But there's a culture like that in Nigeria where, let's say the woman cannot have children. She finds that she's unable to bear children. She gets married to another woman, bring the woman to her husband. The husband impregnates the woman. The woman gives birth to children, and those children become the children of the other woman who married her. I don't know if you understand. And also, sometimes the woman doesn't even have to be married. Let's say she can't have children and she's unable to attract a husband, and then she marries another woman, and then that other woman sleeps with a particular man. There's how they will arrange it, and then the children that comes as a result of that belongs to the woman who does the marriage. So it's kind of like a marriage arrangement for the sake of having children. I don't know if you understand. And trust me, I think it is barbaric. Okay, it's not like I'm defending. I'm just telling you something about African culture. And I'm not saying this is applicable in, across every African culture. But I'm just saying, when you talk about same-sex marriage, that's the point I'm just trying to talk about. You might be like, Africa is opposed to same-sex marriage. Yes, but I don't know if you understand. Yes, we are opposed to it the way the West practice it. But there is a version of it in there is a version of it in African culture. And this is where the intellectuals, the Western intellectuals, become dubious. Right? This is where they become dubious, because you will see somebody who will write an article or write a book and say homosexuality in Africa. And this thing I just described to you is what they are saying. But this thing I just described to you is not really same-sex marriage the way we understand same-sex marriage today. So it's just it's just something that you see in African culture. Also, there are African cultures where once a woman, although this is, I don't think it exists in Nigeria, but I was reading about it somewhere. I think it's I've forgotten the name of that tribe. They are somewhere in middle southern Africa, where a girl child is ready for marriage once she sees her menstrual cycle, which is kind of similar to what some say is obtainable in Islam. I mean, if you ask Daniel Hakikachu, that's kind of his position. And yeah, there's a tribe in Africa, not Nigeria, in Africa that kind of believe in such or practice such form of child marriage, where once the child goes through puberty for the first time, they're ready for marriage. So yeah, that is what you find in Africa. This is from John. Slavery and human trafficking in Africa isn't talked enough about. There are different ways. Let me tell you what I know about human trafficking in Africa. Right? There are many ways it occurs. Right? And the reason why it still happens in Africa is, of course, is because of poverty, and poverty that has been allowed to persist due to corruption. So, and there are agencies in Nigeria that try to crack down on human trafficking, but recently we found out that, which I will do a story about, hopefully sometime in the future, I will talk about it. But it's something that happened when we found out that a politician in Nigeria was trafficking it was involved in human trafficking. So it kind of runs deep, is the point I'm trying to point out. But usually the people who do this take advantage of poor people, right? They tell them, let's say they see somebody who will meet a poor family and say, I want to take your son abroad, or I want to give him, and once, Nigerians, once they hear, or Africans, once they hear you're taking somebody abroad, taking them to the West, that's like, life changing for them, not knowing that this person who is promising all of this is planning to sell your child into, human trafficking, slavery, essentially. That's kind of how it happens, And then there's the kidnapping. There are people who do it via kidnapping. Yeah, they go kidnap children and smuggle them out of the country to somewhere where they get to become slaves, essentially. And many of these children are used for sex work. Most of them are used for sex work. Man, it's just. There was a time where there was even a crackdown in Italy. I think there was a time in news about that was. I don't know the details. I will have to do some Google search where there was a crackdown in Italy of Africans, especially from even in Nigeria, some parts of Ghana, and so we are being trafficked to a place, to Italy for sex work, essentially. The one of the reasons why I don't talk about it is because I know the solution to it, right? The solution is, if you get rid of poverty in Africa, if you get rid of poverty in Africa, you will not have. I'm not saying human trafficking will come to an end. I believe that most of these things just tend to morph themselves, adapt to current situation. But I don't think it will be the as big of a problem as it is right now. And the way to deal with poverty is just, free markets. Government just stop frustrating people and allow people to really engage in business and thrive and create, industries and employ their, people. The government should just get out of the way. Stop getting in the way of people, prospering and flourishing. If Nigerian government can just, or African government can just do that, instead of coming up with regulations, policies that just make things worse. If they can just do that, I believe the problem of poverty can be dealt with to a great extent in Africa. That's why sometimes I just get tired talking about it, because at the end of the day, I know what the solution is. But I just know nobody's going to. If I talk about it, everybody's going to be focused on the symptom and they will not see the bigger picture, and to know that if we just have free market, real free market society that, that we know is able to bring people out of poverty, if we can really operate a free market economy in Africa, devoid of government corruption, who do well as a continent. There are industrious people in this country. There are smart in this continent. There are smart people in this country. There are people who are just being, their talent, their potentials are just being stifled and suppressed in this country. If only the government would just get out of the way, so that people can express themselves. Like express that creativity, that inner genius that they have within themselves. And that's why when you see so many of them go to Western countries, you see them excel. You see those people are ready to work. They are eager to work. They want to do something. I believe that there is the individuals with the highest number of drive and ambition are African youths. I don't think you find that level of drive any other place in the world. But we have a government that keeps stifling and just keeps suppressing that. And that's why we have what we have in in the continent and the country. Keep using them interchangeably. Lil Buzibet said, I'm not even talking about diversity on a micro level. Basic interpersonal relationship. We may look alike and belong together as the same race or state or party, but there's no chance of a union. Of union. I get where you're coming from. So why did they attack Nigeria? People in Northern American in the Northern American continent. Why did they attack Nigerians? I don't even understand that question. If you can rephrase the question, that would be nice. I get it. That actually sounds like it could work. Damn, I don't even know what I don't even know what people are responding to, so I cannot respond. John is saying basically the second woman is a concubine. It depends. It depends. It depends. No, for the most part, the second wife is not a concubine, it's actually a wife. Right? Polygamous marriages polygamous marriage is still a thing in Africa, unfortunately. It's not illegal. Right? So there you have it. I mean attacking Africans on every level for different reasons. I don't know. Give me examples so I will know how to respond to that accurately. Look, you got 2 African moms. That household is going to be run tight. You don't want to see, growing up, you don't want to have 2 African moms, okay? You don't. Jesus Christ, you don't. You don't. 1 is enough. 1 is, yeah, it sounds closer to polygamy. Yeah, what I'm describing with the woman getting married to another woman for her husband sounds like polygamy, but not so much. There has to be a different name for it. There are some similarities, but the woman is not the wife of the man. It's the wife. The other woman is not the wife of the man. It's the wife of the woman. But it's close. I get what you're saying. Sometimes that situation ends up like Sarah, Ishmael, and Hagar. The husband is in a tight spot. Yeah, completely. That's why I don't think it still goes on there, but there's a culture that used to hold there. Just like there's a culture in Africa where people used to eat human flesh. Cannibalism doesn't happen anymore. People keep talking about it like it does, but it doesn't. But it used to be a thing in it's practiced by a particular tribe in Africa. In Nigeria, sorry. I keep using Africa and Nigeria interchangeably, but believe me, they are not the same thing. One is inside the other. Lil Buzibet said human trafficking is sickening, is slavery. Yeah, it is. It is. It is. It is. It is. All right, guys. I think we've gone through all the comments. I can't see any comments that I can highlight and respond to. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for hanging with me this long. I didn't know that beyond just reacting to the videos that I had stacked up, that we'll have other things to talk about, and I'm happy that we did. I'm happy that you guys are always in the comments, always live with me. I always have people listening, and I'm grateful for that. And this is where we draw the curtain today. And until we meet again, peace.